Welcome to Small Business Big Dreams, where every episode is a new journey into the world of entrepreneurs who are daring to dream big. In this corner of the internet, we're going to celebrate the innovation and the perseverance it takes to turn small ventures into booming successes. These small businesses aren't just places to shop, they're actually hubs of creativity and passion, each with its own amazing story. From the mom and pop shops to the innovative startups, we're going to explore it all. You'll meet the faces behind the brands, hear their stories, and maybe even get inspired to start your own venture. Whether you're a longtime local or new in town, come along with me for the ride and let's celebrate the backbone of our communities one small business at a time. Now let's dream big and spread some love for our local heroes. All right, welcome back to another week of Small Business Big Dreams, and I'm up here again in Twin Lakes, just over the border in Wisconsin, and I am sitting down with Kymberlee Kaye of Fly Girl Fitness, and I am in a room full of pink. Welcome, Kymberlee. I'm glad to be here actually with you, and excited to hear all about your business.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
So let's give me the elevator pitch. What is Fly Girl Fitness?
It's actually Fly Girl.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
That's okay. That's all right. It's Fly Girl Dance and Fitness. Gosh, what do you want to know? Where should I start?
Let's actually start with you. What's your background, and then we'll talk about how you then went into starting Fly Girl. Because I'm going to keep saying Fly Girl for some reason.
That's a great question.
So Fly Girl.
That's all right. I'll keep correcting you all morning.
Please do.
I have a background in cheerleading. So cheerleading was my thing back in the day. High school, leading into college. And was always a gymnast. Never took a dance lesson, believe that or not. I never took a dance lesson.
Huh. Ended up a lot of dancing.
I do a lot of dancing today.
Okay.
I do a lot of dancing. So I started to do aerobics probably my senior year at a woman-owned fitness studio. And to this day, I've tried to find those two women who own that studio. Female Fitness in Wooddale, Illinois. That's what it was called. If you're out there, I would like to thank you for the start of my love for fitness. So they were women-owned. I took a couple of classes, and the owner said, pretty much you're annoying me because you're in the front row constantly jumping in my face.
You're one of those.
Why don't you go get a certification? So that started my fitness stuff very young, where I got certified to teach group fitness. Believe it or not, do you know what step aerobics is, which are the steps here?
I've seen the 1990 videos of it.
Exactly. Yeah. I was the start of it. I was on the Chicago Step Reebok team. That's how old I am and how long I've been teaching fitness.
The Step Reebok team.
They had a team.
What a team? Like, is that a competition?
It was kind of like back in the day they had aerobic competitions, but yeah, it was the kind of the rollout of the Step crew in each of the cities. And so I went down to audition at the East Bank Club, I think it was at the time, and made the team. And so you would learn routines and go around town kind of advertising Step Reebok.
Okay, interesting.
Back in the day. So that's how long I've been around. And then just teaching fitness kind of through my lifetime at different clubs as a side hustle. And then later in life, I opened Fly Girl.
So Fly Girl, like, how did you end up always in Twin Lakes? Are you from Twin Lakes? How did you end up here?
I am not from Twin Lakes. So it started, it's kind of a funny story. So I was teaching at a fitness center, and I had a good friend that also taught fitness. And I said to her, being the marketer, hey, why don't we go rent a space and we'll just have our own little gig, a side gig. And back maybe 12 years ago, that was kind of a big thing for the Zumba people. They were like teams, the Zumba team. Right.
Yeah, okay.
So we were real good at Zumba. I taught at a fitness center. I had 100 people on a Sunday morning that would show up for the class. So I'm like, I'm pretty good at this. Let's go rent a space. And she being, a mom of little ones was like, I don't know, Kim, $40 an hour to rent a space. That sounds, kind of difficult, tough. I said, stick with me, kid. So we rented a church. And I was raising my kids at the time in Park Ridge, Illinois.
Yeah.
Rented a church, did it for about a year, had a great group, 50 to 100 people every Saturday morning. Wasn't for the money. None of this is. None of this is about the money. It's the passion that we bring for women and fitness and things like that. But here's the funny part. So it was St. Patty's Day. It was the first time that I ever decided, let's go put flyers on the cars while people are at church, see if we can get more people.
Yeah.
It was the first time. Everything was digital marketing, word of mouth.
Yeah,
that's how good we were. So we did 50 Shades of Green. Now, back then, the book just came out.
Yeah.
I haven't read it, but we did a 50 Shades of Green kind of type flyer.
Okay.
That was Sunday morning. Monday morning, I got a call from the pastor, and he said, "You are never welcome back in this church." He said, "That's disgusting, what you did, all these flyers." And at the time, I really didn't put it together because it wasn't anything that looked like the book. It was just, leprechauns and shamrocks that were green. But the play on words got us kicked right out of that church.
Oh, my God.
So I say that to say, good things come out of bad situations, right?
Right.
So took 6 months off. I had to apologize to these women. In fact, we had an article written in the Park Ridge Journal about it because we had done so much good for that church. Mm-hmm. And I just hid. I was so embarrassed that I hid out for like 6 months, and I just kind of came up with a plan, and I said, you know what? I have a day job. I think that I could pull off this marketing thing if I got a really small studio, and that's kind of how Fly Girl started. That was August of 2014.
Okay.
Did it myself, rolled up my sleeves, and hired a couple of people. As a single mom, I was a single mom with 2 kids, a business, marketing business, probably a block away, and said, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try to win all these people back. And Fly Girl was open August 1st of 2014 in Chicago.
In Chicago. So wait, you were running a marketing business at the same time too?
So yeah, so my day job is big shot marketing. That's about almost 30 years I've been doing marketing. I had a physical location at the time I opened up Fly Girl. So yeah, I'm paying rent to live, rent for big shot, and I think it's a good idea to open up a studio.
And because you had all this free time on top of it.
And no money. It's a winning combination.
Well, it seems to be working out because we're sitting 10 years later and you're still talking about it.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, we'll find some somewhere. So 2014, you're in downtown Chicago doing all this. So how did you, again, I'm really curious, how did you end up in Twin Lakes?
How did I get to Twin Lakes? This is a good story. So when COVID hit, literally at the time that COVID hit, my youngest son told me I needed to, try to get on some dating apps. So I fumbled around on some dating apps, put my radius, I think, at 50 miles, and lo and behold, ended up meeting somebody in Twin Lakes, Wisconsin. So COVID did me some good.
Okay.
As hard as it was for my business, it slowed me down enough to meet somebody in Twin Lakes, Wisconsin.
Out of all places.
And I told my girlfriends, I said, it's Twin Lakes, Wisconsin. Here we are. So what happened with Fly Girl in that regard is we were closed when COVID had closed. Yeah. We had to pay full rent in Chicago for a full year.
God, that's brutal.
$3,000 in rent, and we had to pay it. We did a GoFundMe. All this was going on. So I finally shut January of 2021, Chicago. And in February of 2021, I said to Kurt, as we were going to the grocery store, hey, that place with the garage door is for rent. Do you think I'm absolutely crazy if I want to call and see what the rent is?
Yes.
1 month after I shut Chicago. He's like, let's do it. So that's kind of how this started. So during that time I was closed in Chicago, we built this space. He built the floor, which is a raised floor, and did all the work to open in April of 2021 here.
So you went from closing January and then in April reopened here in Twin Lakes.
We opened here. Later that year, I tried to reopen Chicago for 1 more year, and we didn't make it.
No.
COVID closed us.
God, COVID, man.
Yep.
There's a lot of good and bad that came out of COVID. There's some businesses that flourished, some that didn't make it.
Right
but,
on.
Hey, you would have never made it up here in Twin Lakes and met
Night and
Kurt
day.
all
1
that.
hour away, the studio never had a hiccup.
Yeah.
People were just completely different.
Yeah.
Yep.
The whole mentality of everything, it's unreal. And the exodus of people out of the city too just changed the whole dynamic. I mean, the suburbs got flooded, but we could talk about that all day. Yeah. So let's talk about, where does the Fly Girl name come from?
Well, that's a great story. So back in the day, I tried out for the Bulls back in '90 during our championship years, and had great ideas after that. I had great ideas after that experience. And at the time, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the show In Living Color. It's a spin-off of SNL. And so they had little skits of girls that danced, and I thought they were so cool that I thought maybe one day, in my wildest dreams, I would be in LA trying out to be a Fly Girl alongside J-Lo, and that just never happened, Eric. That never happened. So later in life, when I was looking for a name for the studio, I went online, like you, my fellow marketer, started with GoDaddy. And look, let's just see if Fly Girl Dance is available. And it was.
The domain search first. I highly recommend it.
The domain search first. Yeah. So I snatched it, checked my social media to see if I could grab the custom URLs for those, and that's kind of how it all started. I just liked the name. I thought it was cool, and It did me good. It's done us some good up
And
here.
it's so good that I keep screwing it up all day.
We do flybys, so you kind of
fly girls. I'll have it. We got this. We got this. And then we have to call out the very pink theme you've got going on, and pink everywhere. You're in pink. There's pink walls. There's pink decorations. It's definitely pink. So I know I want to talk about you definitely you have a mission or a value around all this. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure. Our mission is really being supportive of women, and I know that sounds like everyone says that, Kim, but I'm a bullied kid. Kindergarten through 6th grade, I was bullied, which is not a sad story. It makes me who I am today. So I'm very inclusive. We're non-judgmental here, very welcoming. In fact, you'll not only see myself welcoming members or my instructors living and dreaming the brand, but we've created something along the lines here at Flagler called brand ambassadors. We call them glambassadors. So it started in Chicago when you would just see members be very welcoming to people that came in. And I was like, God, you're like cheerleaders for us. This is cool.
Yeah.
How can I acknowledge them? So I picked the first one. Hey, Susie Snowflake, I'd like to make you a glambassador. Come in. I'll take your professional headshot. Let's write a bio. We'll put you on the website, and then I'll kind of market you on social media, right? You're standing next to Susie working out. Who is she? What else does she do in life? Kind of get to know her, right? So from the first person in Chicago, they now have to pick the next one, and I can't be involved.
Oh,
so like a couple months in,
okay.
Susie, who do you think is next? And she'll say, oh, I think Mary, or do you like Beverly? And I'm like, I don't want to be involved. You pick her, and you tell me why you're picking her.
Yeah.
So it's been cool to see through the years, now up in Twin Lakes here, who picks the next person that kind of emulates the Fly Girl brand, which goes back to your question of kind of who we are, what our passion is, and it's just so cool to see them get so fired up to pick the next person and tell me why.
Yeah.
And some of them are, she's very quiet, but if you really talk to her, you find out she's doing this, she's doing that. She used to be a retired this. And they're just so fired up to promote that person. And then they know that I will inbox the next one. Let them know. It's like underground till we get the picture and the bio in.
Top secret.
Top secret. We AI that picture up for them and do the announcement. And I've actually had, Eric, women cry when they've come in to take the headshot.
Yeah.
They'll tell me that their family is so excited for them. The kids made them a poster.
That's
They've
so
never had
sweet.
such an acknowledgement. It's literally, I'm not giving you anything other than the photo. And I still have women in Chicago that still have that same profile picture. They haven't changed it from when I took their picture and just highlighted them. So I think that really is
so sweet. I love that.
It stands by our brand. That's just who we are. And most people know that I'm extremely transparent, very authentic. I have an eating disorder history of 15 years. I talk very much about it. People look at you and think you got it going on. I got a bullied background. I have an eating disorder. I was a single mom filing bankruptcy, getting evicted from places, having trouble with my credit. I couldn't, get another rent down in Chicago because of my credit score. Talk all about it. Don't look at me and think you know what I'm about until you hear my story. Yeah. So I think people really appreciate that too, as the owner of the business and our brand.
Well, and that's not to, by no means has any kind of weight to that, but the value of the story we try to do in these podcasts. People think they know what's going on or how they got there or the overnight success, or it's like, no, it took 7 years before I became an overnight success, quote unquote, this is kind of where it goes into the love-hate I have with social media. It's like there's so much good that comes out of social media, and there's a great way to handle it.
Right.
But we only put mostly our good on there, right?
Exactly.
So everyone thinks everything's 100% great. I'm successful and I've got all of this. I'm like, you have no idea the struggles I'm going through, and the assumptions that come from that. But I love just the camaraderie that seems to come out of something so simple, right? Yeah. We kind of glazed over it, so I want to take a step back. Obviously you have a fitness studio, but what do you guys do here? What's the kind of fitness? What's the goals? What does that look like?
That's a great question. So we offer fitness-based classes. Zumba, we talked about a little bit earlier before we started recording. Zumba is here. Yoga is here. A new format, Yoga Sculpt, is here. Circuit training is here. Strength training is here. What am I missing? Zumba has another format called Strong. Turbo Kick is here, so that's a kickboxing. Okay. So just a variety of formats to keep these women healthy, feeling stronger, feeling empowered. I always say in my classes, I hope you feel more powerful today as you start your day. It's not for this studio, and this is part of my background. They're not coming here necessarily especially this Twin Lake studio, you know, to get a huge weight loss. This is a community. They hold each other accountable. Where's Amber? Where's Diana? I haven't seen Kathy in a minute. You know, they'll go online and say, oh, I connected with Beth. I haven't seen her in a hot second. They're showing up for each other. They're holding each other accountable. And it's a community that's not only, you know, when I hear these girls talk, they thank me, not for just the space. They've made all these friendships. This is a transplant kind of town, right?
Yep,
so they're coming
100%.
from Illinois or they're coming from other climates to come here for the summer, for the year, whatever it may be. So they'll go out and take a dinner picture and they'll tag me and say, if it weren't for Kim and Fly Girl, we wouldn't be at dinner, or our husbands and us wouldn't be hanging out, or we wouldn't be vacationing together. So it's sometimes overwhelming because I'm so passionate about just bringing them in the building, but to see all these friendships happen out, or the outings that they go on, or now there's a golf league and there's a walking club and just because of this little space is so heartwarming for me.
Love that.
Yeah.
God, I can hear it in your passion and just talking about it. It's like, yeah, I have a fitness studio and we do working out, but that's not what it's about.
It's not what it's about.
But it is, but it isn't, you know?
Right on.
And I think that's, you know, something I've talked about with a lot of these business owners is that if you're not passionate about what you're doing or why you're doing it, then it's like you're never going to make it through. There's so many hard times. There's so many hours that you're going to put in. There's days you're going to want to cry and break something, and then there's going to be days that like you remember why you did this.
Exactly.
And I think this is so much bigger than just, you know, a Zumba class. So it's really cool.
And I'll tell you on that point, you know, and she'll appreciate this being mentioned, but I have an instructor that, you know, started with me here, just like Chicago. I mean, there were bounce checks numerous times, and she's still with me, this instructor who's just awesome, just a great person. But, you know, she would text me, it's bounced again. What's that fee again? $12, here you go. And it was like, I so appreciated that. It was just, all right, thanks so much, see you class, you know, on Sunday or whatever it was. I was like, how many checks? And it was only her. I mean, nobody else got the bounce checks. I'm like, God dang, it's her again. So there were a lot of those, and there were a lot of sleepless nights. You know, the 3 to 5 a.m. bewitching hour, that's when I would panic. You know, all day I'm like, I got this. I'll rock and roll. We're going to make it. We're going to break even. And lo and behold, be up at 3 a.m. like, I'm going to shut this place. I'm not going to make it. It's never going to work. And then repeat. And 3 years later, I mean, you know, finally able to pay our bills and not stress out over it. You know, we're never going to be $1 million company. I'm never going to retire from my day job. I mean, that's industry statistics.
Yeah.
But if I can pay the bills and I can make these women happy and my instructors have a home, I'll do this for the rest of my life.
Oh my gosh, that if you can't feel the energy right now, then I don't know what you're listening to. I want to talk about a little bit. So you marketing background, you've danced without taking dance lessons ever. Unreal. So let's rewind to 2014 and you're opening up your own place. Was there anything that caught you off guard? You were like, I didn't expect this opening it, or like challenges you faced that were like, well, maybe I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, all of the above.
Okay.
So when I opened initially, like I said, I had a Zumba class that I was teaching, and it was huge on a Sunday. So I'm like, you know, I'm pretty good at the Zumba thing. Maybe I'll just get the space for me. So I was like, at the time, $950 or $900, whatever it was, I was like, it seems like a lot as a single mom. And again, another brick and mortar business a block away. But I'm like, you know what? If I do the math and I charge $10, but then I started to think, this is the challenge. I said, I don't want to look Mickey Mouse. You know, the day job, I don't want to look Mickey Mouse. I'm not going to fail as a bad Zumba instructor. I'm going to fail as a bad marketer if I don't pull this off. So I hired people with no money. Never had a credit card with Fly Girl, never had a loan. If I didn't have the money, it didn't happen. But I hired people and made it look like I knew what I was doing, like the Wizard of Oz, the guy behind the curtain. I was like, yeah, come on in here. I got a stellar studio going. And hired, and still these people are with me to this day in Chicago. We're still very, very good friends. Hired them. They were new, I was new, and we faked it to make it look like we knew what we were doing. And they would message me in the beginning, and they would say, nobody came today, but I swept another class. No one came today, but I fixed, you know, the front curtains. You know, they stayed positive, and I said, give me 6 months. Stay with me 6 months. And I took everything from my day job, and I paid these people, you know, and just motivated these people. Like, I promise you it's going to work. And little by little with the social media job, I'd friend a member. I'd take that picture with a member. I'd tag the member. 1 year later of this hard work and just one at a time, it's sales. When you're teaching a class, it is sales.
100%.
I'm not, you know, the best Zumba instructor, but the engagement I bring in and out of the studio, the social media stuff that we bring. 1 year later, we're packed in this little studio. We're packed. And I get some inboxes on Facebook like, yeah, I joined your studio, but it looks too busy. And I was like, 1 year later, I said, pack the boxes. We're moving. We're moving to Jefferson Park. And so we tripled our space, having gone through all that first
1 year later.
I thought I was going to die. We move into Milwaukee and Jefferson Park. Now we got 40 people in a class.
Oh my God.
It was insane. Fly Girl was a thing.
I mean, that's
until
insane
COVID.
Growth in a year. I mean,
social media.
Hey,
social media. God bless. Yeah. And maybe I was decent at dancing. I don't know.
But it's about the experience, right?
Right.
Like you can go on YouTube and follow a Zumba class. You can get these other apps. You could go to a different gym, but people don't. They come here for a different reason.
Yep.
It's like I'm doing the Zumba, but it's everything else.
It's everything else. We're like Starbucks. You pay a little more to drive a little farther for the experience.
Is that it? Is
don't
that
quote
why
me,
we do it?
Don't quote me.
The big green monster. I've done it too. I'm not gonna lie. I think we've really hit hard on what differentiates you from your competitors, but is there anything we haven't talked about that you maybe want to nail home?
Yeah, and that's a good point you brought up as competition, because I never really think about it. And again, I'm in marketing, but I'm pro women owned. So in just a sidebar, in 2022, I did something in Chicago called a club crawl. Got us on every major network. What I did is I reached out to every competitor in a 5-mile radius that's a women-owned studio and said, let's get together for 1 week and give free classes for anybody that wants them. And we'll make it a club crawl so they could try you. My members, my 2,000 members at the time, my members, your members, let's market it. They all said yes.
Wow.
So for a week, we just stacked our schedule. I reached out to a couple of the media outlets. I said, I'm doing this. I think it's kind of cool. It's kicking off January. That's a big fitness time. ABC, NBC, Fox interviewed me, came out with their cameras, all because we were just supporting each other.
That's incredible.
So when I think of competition, I feel, one, there's enough space for all of us, and if I'm not for you, I'm not for you.
That's okay.
So what we do here that I found in Chicago kind of drove me a little bit was, it's a free class. It's one thing to get a woman to walk in my door. Yeah. What do I wear? I've gained weight. I don't look right. Who's going to be there? It's another thing to say, just come for free. I'm like a sweater. If it doesn't fit, don't buy it.
Yeah.
Or if you love to go somewhere else because you love to do CrossFit or you prefer to be on a treadmill, I don't want to swindle anyone to being here. I'm not Bally's locking you in with your $10 a month membership for the rest of your life.
Cancel it. You got to go to Mount Everest and submit a paper form.
That's how old I am. That's how long I've been teaching. So I just want it to be a no-brainer. If you want to cancel the membership, you got stuff going on. In my 10 years, I can't tell you how many free memberships I gave under the radar because somebody lost a job, down on their luck. This is the last thing you need to get rid of is exercising and building those endorphins.
Yeah,
so I try to do the right thing by people, make it an affordable choice. Women that are coming from Illinois say, you're so cheap. I'd rather be cheap and a no-brainer than be boutique-y and you have to decide if you're going to pay for another month of Fly Girl.
Yeah, you don't want to feel like that, that choice. They're making a choice around it, right?
Make it a no-brainer. I love this place. It's affordable. I'm meeting nice people. We do a lot of outside things together to build friendships. That's what it's about. And
I'm assuming that club crawl thing was really cool. I'm assuming that was a success beyond just brand awareness.
It was so cool. It was so cool. And some of my members were like, hey, I did buy a couple classes at the Barcode, Kim. And I'm like, awesome.
Cool.
Try something different. Because, if you believe in what you're doing and you do right by people, they're either going to come back or just stick with you.
Grass isn't greener.
That's it.
Yeah.
Do right. Like you said, it's an experience that they're coming for. Maybe that experience isn't the same in another space or whatever it may be.
So came out here, Twin Lakes. What is the business different than? Does it have a different vibe, different feel? Is anything different compared to what it was in Chicago?
I'll say yes and no. So, having the women in Chicago and the women in Twin Lakes, understanding our brand is the same. They're cool.
Yeah.
Because they also follow me. And like I said, I'm very authentic, transparent, very welcoming. But I will say my Twin Lakes ladies are more laid back a little bit. I think, again, Chicago's, men or women, they're going faster, right? Yeah. But here they do the 9 in the morning class. They'll come back for the 5:15. They'll mingle a little more after class. And again, probably the lake life and more retirees, that might be a thing. Or just more laid back. I mean, it is a more laid back, down to...
Yeah.
I don't want to offend my Chicago people. Girls, I still love you. All right.
But I mean, the city's just a faster paced environment.
Right.
You know, they got somewhere else to be. They got somewhere to go. You know, it's
Right.
like, it is what it is. I mean, I used to live in the city. Totally
Okay.
get it. So I was over on 1400 Lakeshore, basically
Okay,
right, Lakeshore
okay.
and North Avenue, right there on the
Okay.
corner. I used to be that guy. I would get in, get my workout in 30 minutes and be sprinting off to something else.
Right.
Here, I'll go work out for an hour, talk to people I
Right.
know. And I was like, wait, this isn't me, but it's
Right.
suburban life, you
Yep.
know? It's
And I love it. I wouldn't
yeah.
trade it for the world, especially when they were teasing me. Like, you're moving to Wisconsin, Kim? I love it. It was the best thing that ever happened in my life, slowing down. Again, meeting Kurt, of course, but just taking a deep breath, man. I was going 100 miles an hour. If I was downtime being a single mom, I'd fill it with networking or fill it with speaking engagements. The last thing I did right before COVID was spoke at the auto show. I was an MC at the auto show. It was go, 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 go. Mm-hmm. In fact, my first date with Kurt, and he'll listen and laugh at this, but my first date with him was COVID. He was coming to the house. I said, I'll make you dinner. So he walks in, and I'm like, dinner is ready. And he's like, do you think I could have a beer first? So that was the most eye-opening experience with him. 4 hours later, that steak was hard and very, very cold, but we had a good time. So it was just slowing me down, right? I'm like, dinner's ready. He's like, I'd like to have a beer, Kim. Come on, slow down.
Like, take a deep breath, enjoy life.
Enjoy life and let him enjoy his rolling rocks, and then, like I said, we eat a hard steak.
Hard steak. Oh, well, I hope you never let meat go bad again after that. But so let's talk. Where do I want to go? So there's a lot of different angles we can take at this. Let's talk about the most valuable lesson you learned. So what has Fly Girl taught you about yourself?
I'll say, I think closing Chicago is probably the lesson. The hardest thing that ever happened to me was closing Chicago. So, and looking back now, one of the best things I did. So again, I told you I closed it at the beginning of COVID because we had to. And then officially closed January of 2021, which everyone understood. They understood with the hopes that Kim would reopen. I mean, again, we're at a cult following down there. We had a cult following down there. And then when I reopened, I did it for the wrong reasons. I said, I'm going to try it again. Knowing that we went from 40 people in class, when we were, in our COVID days, 8, 10, I was going to reopen, sign the lease again, with my horrible credit of all the things that I've tried to do to hold the studio open in Chicago. I signed that lease, and it just, in my gut, was like, you shouldn't be doing it, but I was doing it, not for myself. What was I doing with these 12 instructors?
Right.
They have no life. They have no home. What about all these members that were begging me to reopen? I did it for the wrong reasons. And again, running both at the same time, 1 hour apart. This up here, I mean, they were like, you don't want us to wear a mask, do you? And down there, we'd have 1 or 2 masks on. I mean, it's just the way that it operated.
Totally different, yeah.
I couldn't get more than 10 people in a class. No matter how smart I thought I was, it just changed. So the hardest lesson was staying open that full year, dying. My entire day job, Kurt is my witness, my instructors are my witness. They weren't paid over a year, Chicago. They said, we'll just keep going to try to make it work.
Yeah.
Over a year. God. Right, and I would try to give them anything I could. We'd rather you pay the rent. And even that was a challenge, $2,800 or whatever it was at the time. We just weren't making it. So when I decided to close, there's no good time, right?
There's never a good time. Right.
No, I said to myself, if by the end of December, let my team know, transparent. The members not so much, just, it's going to be January.
It is what it is, yeah.
I closed January 1st, and it was like, I never cried so hard. It was like one day, and I had to come teach her at night. So in the morning, I made the announcement, did the video, put my heart out there. I can't do it anymore. We're going to close. And interestingly enough, it was eye-opening to see how some of them reacted. I mean, I understand you're mad at me. I understand you're hurt. My instructors took it the best. Mm-hmm. Looking back now, I mean, I breathed so much stronger a few months later, but that first day in January, I wanted to die. I felt like a failure. I let everyone down. I mean, and again, I was always doing it for them. Yeah. I never made a dime. I never paid myself in 8 years of Chicago. Never took $1 for a paycheck.
Oh my
Everything
gosh.
I ever made extra, new stereo, new fans, new weights, new mats, ever. And I'm not complaining, but that's where my heart was. So when I had to close and I had to sit in my living room, I sat on the floor and I was crying, and I was on with some of the instructors all day. And all of them, you're doing the right thing. Members are hurt, members are mad, members just paid for something. I mean, and again, for the majority, it was fine, but it was one of the roughest days. Having this still running, having this start growing, having this do great, it was almost worse to have this instead of just saying, I'm done in Chicago. Yeah. Then they all had to sit down there and watch Twinnie grow. Really, really hard.
Yeah. I can't imagine. I mean, that's, and that was your, OG baby, so to say, right?
It's still my baby. I just was with an instructor, my very first instructor yesterday for dinner. I cannot do enough for them. Every time I see them, if I can't pick up the check, I'm indebted to them for the rest of my life. What they did during COVID to try to keep us alive, I can't do enough for them for the rest of my life.
And that just goes, I mean, we could talk about it all day, but how important it is hiring the right people.
Right.
Yeah? It's like, you could get somebody who's the best of the best at what they do, but if they're not the best in the mentality of the purpose of what your mission and goals are, it will never succeed, because you're going to have hard times. You're going to need people that believe in what you're doing and why you're doing it. And it sounds like you hired all the right people.
Well, let me, so I don't sound like I'm full of myself by any means, but let me tell you a little bit about that situation that you're talking about, people and hiring. So I feel like the best instructor that I have is a member turned instructor, because they fell in love with the brand, they love the format, and they wanted to invest in themselves to learn it, right? So in Twin Lakes, we have one instructor that's been with me from day one. The rest of the 5 are members turned instructors.
Oh, wow.
So they fell in love with this. So I think that in Chicago, the same way. A lot of the instructors were members first.
Yeah.
And they just loved us, which now I'll say, as a veteran of 30 years in fitness, invest in your best, and those members turn instructor. They're in it. It's not about the money, which everyone's paid. Everyone's paid in Twin Lakes. Write that down. But they just love this. They love the brand. They love the community. They love everything about it. And now they want to teach. So then I invest in them, and I make them mini Kims. Right. And I don't mean that like, they're just like me. I give them everything they want. I teach them things that you're not going to learn in the studio, like marketing, social media, check-ins, video, good angles, selfies, or when not to take pictures of people, noticing body language. It's like, I don't want to be in a picture. I don't feel comfortable with things like that. But, I'll give them anything I can to shirt off my back to make them better at what they do. I want more numbers in everybody's class, not just mine.
Of course. And then, your trainers, I think you hit the nail on the head. Like, I didn't even think about it that way. Members becoming their trainers, and I've seen it before, but I didn't realize like that makes so much sense. From they are. I want to say drink the Kool-Aid, but that sounds so exactly right.
There's Fly Girl Kool-Aid, and it's pink, Eric.
Yeah. Oh, it's only pink. I want to. You started to talk about it a little bit. Obviously, your background's digital marketing. We talked about that a little bit, but. What kind of impact, or what have you done specifically that has helped Fly Girl grow with the digital marketing side of it?
So absolutely, and my instructors follow suit with this stuff. So as I give them the welcome manual or the Kim spiel, I do mention the power of social media, and it grew my Chicago in that 1 year, and it's done it here the same way. It's the check-ins. We incentivize, obviously the women check in on their Facebook page. They don't realize they've got 1,000 friends, and when they check into Fly Girl, 1,000 eyeballs see it. Well, that'd be 2,000, Kim, if you do the math, because it's 2 eyes.
I wasn't going to say
with
it. With
my one good eye, I saw her check in. The check-ins, we have our selfie station located by the garage back there. Every instructor, and they use me as the bait, they'll say, Kim's going to get mad if we don't do a selfie. So they'll do that picture, they'll post it on their Facebook page to their 1,000 friends, they'll tag the people in it. It's the power of the numbers.
Yeah.
It's the power of the numbers that have grown the Chicago studio and exponentially here.
I love that. And I think people, to our business owners that are listening, take note. It kind of goes down something we've talked about a couple times on the show is, word of mouth, but this takes it to a whole different level. It's creating that engagement. It's in creating that encouragement, I think, of your customers, your guests, your clients, whatever your business model may be, to want them to talk about your business, and it gives them something a little rewarding too, recognizing them maybe like a first class or their 100th class, or, they've achieved something, or, just because they showed up, you
right
know?
On.
So, and I think something like this, it goes hand in hand. One, you want your clients to be consistent, right? Or your customers, your Fly Girls to be consistent, but then the consistency of the digital marketing side of it, and so it's a win-win-win-win for everybody.
It is a win, and one of our little secret tricks we did last year, not by intent for marketing, is like give to get. I'm a big give to get person, so we had these koozies made, the Fly Girl ones. In fact, Kurt was saying, "You're not going to charge for them, Kim?" And I'm like, what are they, 50 cents, whatever. I said, I'm just going to give them to the girls.
Yeah.
Just a small gift. Thinking in my mind, maybe they'd post a picture, I don't know, with a koozie. Handed them all out. And the next thing I know, it was a flood on the internet. They took them everywhere they went. Italy, the Cubs game, on the beach, on an airplane, in the bathroom. I mean, they just went crazy. So I bought a map for the wall, and we started to put stickers where the koozies went all summer long.
That's so cool.
It was like, I couldn't have planned a better marketing strategy to say, take this with you. They saw the next girl do it. Oh, I'll take my koozie on one took it to her wedding. I mean, it was insane what the koozies did. So this summer they were already like, what are we doing this summer? Same thing. I bought them sunglasses with the fly girl on them, hot pink and black.
Yeah.
Go travel for me. The map's on its way. We're going to do the same thing with cheap thrills, paying it forward, giving them an incentive to take those pictures, to tag me in it, or to talk about me. Worked wonders last summer.
Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and unintentionally too.
Unintentional. I was like,
so
I couldn't
cool.
even come up with that marketing scheme.
Yes, I did. I totally meant that.
Right on.
Yeah. I'm gonna take some notes and I'm gonna go make some koozies after this.
That's
But I want to talk about. No, I don't want to go there yet. Let's talk about, have you had a mentor or somebody in your life that has been like either, or maybe just somebody just gave you one like really good piece of advice that's really stuck with you now running your own businesses?
Okay, yeah. I had a business mentor with Big Shot a while ago. So I started speaking on digital marketing, and when I would speak, they would line up after. I'm not selling anything. I don't have books or DVDs. So I was just like, your marketing sucks. You're not doing this right. And then they'd line up. So I grew really fast in the early 2000s. I grew really, really fast just from speaking. Mm-hmm. And I would take everybody. I'll take you as a client. I'll figure this out. I'll take you. So I started to build my team. And no matter how good I thought each of the players were, graphic designer or webmaster or the clients would still go, I want to talk to Kim. I need to talk to Kim. And I would, make sure everybody who had equipment or whatever they needed. So we built this office, and I think at one point we had 10 people working for me at Big Shot. And I wanted to pull my hair out because no one wanted to deal with any of them, only Kim. Right? Mm-hmm. So I had a business mentor come in and, can you look at our processes and tell me what's going on here? He's like, get your hands out of everything.
You're right.
And I'm like, what do you mean? All right, tell me how a website is built. Well, first I sit with the client and I ask them all these questions, and then I go over here and I do this, and then I'll find somebody who's going to do the website stuff, and then I sit over their shoulder and I give them all the branding element, and he goes like, stop. So really showing me that I'm so hands-on everything, that's why they all want to talk to you. From the get-go, they're not talking to Eric, they're talking to Kim.
Right.
And then Kim does the touch point, and Kim does the reporting. So really learning to delegate and trust people to do things if I've taught them correctly. That was very difficult because I'm very handsy. Now that I'm older, I'm much better at it.
Okay.
But back then when I've grown this business, I had 10 people, I'm paying the rent. I was like, I have all these clients, and you guys aren't competent enough, and it wasn't. It was like he would put up on the wall every part of the process, and my name was on every one of them. And so just showing me that could have been handled by him, that could have been handled by her, then it should have gone, and you were the last person to look at it and give it the okay, or whatever it may be at the time. Yeah, of course. For that example. So that was one.
That's a good one. And we'll come back to your other one because I want to double down on that one because I think we can call it either trust problems or fear problems. And I myself went through a very similar situation when I used to have my own business, and the art of delegation is one thing. But the other part is we hire people because hopefully they're smarter in something that we're hiring them for, right? And if we can't trust them to own that and be that, one of two things happen. And you've learned this, but this is for our listeners that, they lose credibility if you put a wall between them and the client, customer, whoever that is. If they're in that room or they handle that conversation, that client or customer builds that credibility, builds that rapport. They're already working with you. They're there for a reason.
Right.
Now, who are the people within your business that they're going to partner with? Get them in front of them. Get them to build that credibility, build the rapport, the trust of whatever. They're going to own the website or whatever that looks like. And then guess what? Your hand's out of that cookie jar and you get a little bit time back in your day. And then that's what makes the business scalable, because if you don't, you can't do everything 24/7, 365. And that's a huge, huge thing that I know a lot of our business listeners struggle with.
Right.
And we all went through it.
Yep.
But once you get past that, you will watch your business grow faster than it ever did.
100%.
So sorry, I wanted to double down there because it's a big topic, has come up a couple times. But you said you were about to go. You had another story, something about a mentor or some advice or something that somebody gave you.
Well, one of the things that I said earlier, and this is somebody that I look up to in the fitness world. You're never going to make $1 million. The average, studio owner makes 70, let's say, hypothetically. 70% of them are owned by women. You're never going to make $1 million here. And so accepting that and learning that kind of lesson is okay for me. In the beginning, especially Chicago, and it was so big, and seeing the numbers and like, oh, this is going to be great. One day I'll just do this. I love my day job, period. So I really love what I do by day. And just knowing that this is just a side hustle, and knock on wood today, it pays for itself. It gives me a little cushion to do nice things for the studio or my instructors. Recently, I got them all branded jackets with a little extra cash that we had on hand. I'll leave them flowers occasionally on the desk, pick a bouquet out. Just the littlest things that I can do to remind them, how much they're affecting other women's lives. And, you're not doing it for me. You're doing it for them. And just making them feel great along the way with, like I said, if we have a little bit on the side. So 3 years later, that is my biggest success story. Even Fly Girl Chicago wasn't rocking and rolling in 3 years down there, but knock on wood, I can breathe and sleep at night.
I love that.
Somewhat.
If you guys haven't caught on yet, Kim likes going 100 miles an hour. So Kim, how do you balance the urge to go 100 miles an hour, business things going on everywhere, networking, all that good stuff, and still make time for Kurt?
Well, he's the reason. Honestly, like I said, it's no joke. When I moved up here and I started to date him, I would message my friends on my phone because I, like you, am on my phone 24/7, right? And I said, girls,
How can
he doesn't have his phone on him. They're like, where is the phone? I said, it's charging in his bedroom. So Kurt, no technology, like when I met him, which is very attractive to me because of my day job. I'm on social media,
digital marketing,
and everybody knows me. So when I started coming up here, he didn't meet Kim that everybody knows down there. He met me and my joggers, right? It wasn't the leather pants and the big hair, and you go down there, everybody knows me.
Right.
In fact, when I brought him down there eventually the first time, people on the street were like, hey, Kurt. He's like, how do they know me? I'm like, you're all over my social media because he's so low tech.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a total sidebar. So when I first met him and we're texting and such, I said, well, my website is KymberleeRhea.com. Take a peek at that. So I don't hear
Google
anything.
me. Yeah.
Right. I don't hear from him. So next time I'm with him, I'm like, so did you look at my website? He's like, yeah. I'm like, what do you think? He's like, yeah, it's cool. I was like, I love you. I love you. Let's get married. You don't care. You don't care.
Like a total 180.
This day he'll say, you shine. I don't need to shine. So it's such a great balance for me because, I'm from Chicago, so I want to give you my rap sheet. This is what I've done. This is my speaking engagements.
Yeah.
I traveled here. He was like, yeah, cool. Do you want to go get some cheese curds and drink beer? And I was like,
welcome to Wisconsin.
So that was awesome. We would sit and listen to music. It was COVID. It did me so good to just chill out. And there was no judgment. In fact, we had our neighbors would walk over with she's in a robe, they've got drinks. I'm like, who is that? He's like, oh, they come over once a week, whatever. And I'm sitting there, because it's a date night. I'm up there, I have like a lace top on, my BMW's parked there, leather pants. We're sitting outside. These people roll up like in robes, and they're like, Stanleys, right? I was so embarrassed, so humbled and so embarrassed that I said, can you go grab me like a sweatshirt? I just what are you doing? You're running a rat race down there. I got to look good. I got to have this car. I got to do these things. I'm like, here come the neighbors. This doesn't happen in Chicago. No. You have to make a play date. Are you available in July?
6 months out, They
rolled up, sat down. We were laughing, and I'm like, you look like a fool, dressed like this, acting like this. And it wasn't much longer that we got rid of the Beamer, right? I'm driving a Ford now. I told them, I got a Ford Bronco. They're like, shut up. What'd you really get? But that balance that he brings every day. Yeah. If I want to come in hot, he'll just, okay, yeah, that's cool. Or I'm like, look, I had 20 people in class today and I'm fired up. He's like, that's great. Did you want to eat now or later? And it's not because he's trying. It's just, it's so good. And I think, and on the contrary, I think I get him fired up about stuff, or get him motivated about stuff that he never, thought about or whatever like that. So that's really my balance, is just being able to chill, having no agenda, saying,
God.
do you want to go to a fish fry? Like today with people.
Like right now?
Right now.
Like we're leaving like a half hour.
Right.
You want to go? Like,
Right.
wait, what? This
So
wasn't on my calendar.
That's it. It was not on my Google calendars or whatever it may be. So I think that's really been a huge part of me being able to just breathe and not freak out.
And I think I'm shocked we haven't talked about this more on the podcast too. So I'm loving these topics you're bringing up because I think our partners are our unsung heroes. You know, I think some of us, one myself included, likes going 100 miles an hour, and my wife is the opposite. She likes to plan and like have it all scheduled out, but like she mellows me out and reminds me like, hey, like why don't you like focus here versus jumping into 16 different things. And I think, you know, when we work these long hours, especially early entrepreneurs or solopreneurs, I need another cup of coffee, but the partners are the people that, you know, put up with us when we're stressed out. We don't come to bed until 3 a.m. and then we're back at it at 5 a.m. and, you know, we're angry and maybe we're being edgy or you short in court with them and it has nothing to do with them and they let it slide. And I think, you know, my wife, thank you, Jacqueline. I owe you a ton of gratitude for a lot of the shit I've made you put up with. But I think that is just something that, you know, is not highlighted enough. So thank you to our unsung heroes.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Amen.
I want to talk about your industry for a little bit. You've been doing this for a long time. You've been around it. You're deeply involved in it. So obviously COVID changed it a lot. Do you see a next phase of anything changing within the fitness industry or anything at all that, you know, you either are going to try to prepare for or it just might indirectly or directly affect your business?
That's a great question. So by day, I have a yoga client that I do marketing for, which I love. And they've really opened my eyes to a few trends that are happening. Number one, yoga is the largest growing industry right now. And again, I'm an old dog, right? I'm like, oh, great, yoga's a big deal. I don't care. I'm, you know, great at dance and I'm great at strength training. And like my 100% personality when I teach, I'm on fire. I want to beat you up and, you know, leave you sweating.
Yeah.
Right. But the yoga industry, as I'm learning, and I just got a certification in Yoga Sculpt, is the largest growing fitness class.
Sculpt part of it. Sculpt. Okay.
Right. And so the woman that, you know, I'm working for said, it's going to change your business. And I'm like, listen, I've got a degree in marketing and I don't believe it, blah, blah, blah. And lo and behold, I put Yoga Sculpt on the schedule. I did a little paid advertising. We earned 20 clients within a couple of weeks.
No shit.
And I was like, damn. So I called her. You know, I'm a big gratitude person. I called her. I said, you're right. My Yoga Sculpt classes are packed. She goes, I'm telling you, it's a different breed, a person. Because
totally different
a
clientele.
lot of women, two things they tell me. I don't do Zumba because they're afraid of it. I don't do yoga because they're afraid of it. You know, you find, yoga, I don't think I could do that. What woman doesn't want to be sculpted? Yoga Sculpt. So it's a great introduction. So my end game, one is Arizona. That's where Kurt's family is at. Two, you know, I can't be jumping around like a monkey the rest of my life, right?
Yeah.
I mean, my knee's shot and my back hurts most days. Thankfully, we're on a raised sprung floor, thanks to Kurt. But
thanks, Kurt.
Yeah, thanks, Kurt. But I like the yoga thing. And it's like I was nervous to put it on the schedule. Like for a month, I was pacing because I'm like, it's out of my realm.
Yeah.
Slowing down.
Get out of your comfort zone.
Talking slow. I mean, I'm very motivating in classes, but it's like, okay, I'm going to do lighter weights, higher repetition. That's not hard for me. Like I want to, yeah. And so I started a couple classes and the women were like, I love this. And I'm leaving like, it doesn't hurt my body. I get to talk to them the whole time about just like, you know, taking in deep breaths, stay here mentally with us, you know, leave your mind chatter outside the studio. I want you to have this hour for yourself. Things I think about when I'm crushing them on a Sunday in boot camp, but it's so slower paced.
Yeah.
A lot of breathing.
The vibe's got to be totally different.
Totally different. And I'm shocked. I'm shocked that one can do it. And two, that they just love it because it's like I was really nervous, like trying something new for myself. I don't even think when I come and teach. This morning I taught a dance class. I don't even put my playlist together until I'm standing at the stereo because I'm like, been doing this so long. But Yoga Sculpt, I was like, I left Kurt and I'm like, I'm really nervous. He's like, you're going to be fine. And it's just putting that pressure on to like perform and really give them the best first class. You get one first impression with these people and they loved it. So I think yoga is gonna be more of Fly Girl's brand moving forward to your question.
Interesting. Yeah, I think that aligns very well with, you know, again, I'm going to use my wife as an example. She doesn't like the HIIT style or the heavy lifting. She does all these different like slower pace, lightweight, like some of that shit is hard. I've watched it.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
tried doing some of it. I'm like the Pilates and the Pure Bar and the yoga. There's like, I think like what, 5 different yogas or
Oh,
something.
for
Probably
sure.
even more
Oh,
than
for
that.
sure, yeah.
But so I think too, like to your point, that's 2 totally different clientele. You know,
Right on.
there's some they're going to bridge that gap, of course, but I think that just opens a whole area of opportunity. Now, when you say that's Fly Girl's new thing, is that just going to be in addition to, or do you think that you're going to see a bigger, just more, you're going to eventually lean into only
I
the
don't
yoga?
know.
You don't
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll leave it for inquiring minds to figure it out.
Only time will tell.
I told Kurt, I'm like, maybe it's Fly Girl Flow in Phoenix. Doesn't that kind of just sound good? But I mean, I have such a dance background. My dance classes, and again, by no means did I move up here. Again, a humbling experience for me is this was an ultimate marketing project. You're going to go to Twin. You're not from here. I opened in Chicago. You know who I am,
Yeah.
just because I've been around so long. I'm going to Twin Lakes. It was very humbling in the beginning, being the other instructors I hired were from here. So I would come and watch their classes, and they would have 10 or 12 people, and I'd have nobody. So, saying that, I'm bringing that to full circle to the yoga thing. It's like, I built this one by one person. So when you come to my Monday night class and it's packed, it wasn't because she's the owner and she's great. Yeah. It was one
who are you?
by one by one. I'm not from here kind of thing. That being said, I have such a strong presence with my dance and my string classes.
No way.
Well, no, what I'm saying is I built it.
Yeah,
I
of
built
course.
it. It wasn't like
Yeah,
handed
yeah.
to me. So, maybe just, bringing that sculpting thing in. Right now I'm teaching extra classes to introduce the sculpt. I don't cost anything if I try it, right?
Right, of
and
course.
seeing how that goes. But it's going well. It's going well. So, I mean, I'm going to ride. The summer is very strong in Twin Lakes. In Chicago, it's dead.
Yeah.
Everybody's outside. Here we have the lake life.
Well, the population up here, what, double or triples during
It's,
lake?
yeah, it's awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
it's really, really cool, especially the daytime at 9 a.m. In the winter, we're like 6 to 10. But in summer, it's, we had a big class today that left, and it's awesome. Anyway, so maybe leaning into it and just kind of seeing where it takes me. That's the philosophy of Fly Girl. There was no real big plan. It was more like I just wanted to take my class out of the studio and have my own space. So we'll see what that yoga sculpt stuff brings me.
Cool. Yoga sculpt. Keep an eye. I wouldn't be surprised if you do a lot more of that. Let's talk about advice you would like to give. So we have a lot of budding entrepreneurs on this listening. We have ones that are thinking about making the leap into starting their own business. What piece of advice would you give them?
I have so many. I would probably say don't be afraid to try it. As much as I am a jump in kind of person, like with big shot stuff, I was actually working as an advertising manager for a company, and I made them an offer when I had my first son to do it remotely. This is back, Jalen's 27. Do it remotely for such and such amount of hours. So it wasn't like I was just quit my job and I ran and did it. I did the 10 hours with that company and said, if I do another company, that would be 10 more hours. So, dabbling in stuff. I taught a fitness class first. When I had 100 people, I decided to make a move.
Yeah.
I see some of these, budding entrepreneurs like, I'm really good at hair. I'm just going to open up a space. And I'm like, there's so much more of it you have to think about. When you have a lot of clients and booking is a challenge, when you have a lot of people in your class, that's the time to move. I see people starting business, especially up here in a small town, and they're just like, I think that'd be just a great idea to have, a widget shop. And you're like, what do you know about widgets? Or make a move bigger, and you weren't doing good there. So do really, really good at what you're doing and get maximized at what you're doing, and then make a move.
Love that.
I don't know. Sounds good.
Sounds good. I think it'll work.
Because people are already, Eric, they're like, you're really big here at Fly Girls, like packed. Are you going to get a bigger space? Are you nuts? Do you know where I came from? You know the Chicago thing? No, I will add classes. That's another Kurt. Add classes, mini classes, pop-up classes. Mm-hmm. Nope. We're not moving. We're here to stay until I leave.
Speaking of classes, how often are you doing classes here?
So we have morning classes Monday through Friday at 9, and then we start back up at 5:15 and offer 2 in the evening, 5:15, 6:15. And then on the weekend we have morning classes, let's say 8, 9, 10.
Okay.
And then we have a full kids program. We have flykidsdance.com.
Okay.
And so we offer kids classes every quarter. We do an 8-week session and then have a recital for the kids.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Oh, you sandbagged that one on us.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Snuck it right in there.
Yeah, you did. So do you have a timeline where you would, let's say, like to get to Arizona?
Well, that's really dependent on Kurt when he retires, when he finally retires. Feels
One day.
5-10 years, I don't know.
Yeah.
His mom is there. That's a need to get there at least once a year to see her. She's getting a little older. He's going to go see her in July. So that's tough too because she is getting older and.
Yeah, of course.
You
want
try to get there, but
mom,
he's got to finish his role here.
Yeah. So Kurt, you're the plan decider. You're figuring it out. Let us know. I know we've covered a lot. But is there anything either about yourself or about Fly Girl that you were hoping to talk about that we haven't covered yet today?
No, I mean, I think we covered a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we rattled off a lot.
I'm grateful for our members that stick with us. I'm grateful for my instructors, both the city of Chicago, forever and ever and ever, and Twin Lakes. They're just awesome people that they just care. I mean, I can't tell you, Eric, man. A member walked in yesterday with a big old thing of water. One of my instructors is constantly cleaning, constantly reminding me what I'm supposed to do. They're just so helpful to me and to the other members. One took somebody home today in the car. Can you give me a ride? And just so nice up here.
Just the community up here is incredible.
I mean, down there the same thing. Everybody helps everybody. But having a pickup truck is handy. You can help people up here.
I never tell anybody I have a pickup truck.
Who knew? In my dating profile, I actually said no pickup trucks, no Crocs. No earbuds that you talk in from here.
The
those
Bluetooth things.
None of that. Here rolled up Kurt in a red pickup truck in front of my house on my first date where I burned his steak. I'm like, he has a pickup truck. And now I love him. I'm like, anybody need a pickup truck? I have one. I can move you for free. You don't have to rent it like the city.
Oh, God, yeah. And then trying to get down those city streets, I don't miss that at
When I
all.
go back, I'm just like, it's crazy because I lived there so long. I just went back yesterday right near O'Hare, and I was just like, oh my God, people are cutting me out. And he used to say it when we were dating coming down, he's like, it's insanity. I'm like, what are you talking about? Now I don't even want to go down because it's like, we don't even have a stoplight in Twin Lakes. It's just, I go into Burcott's, it takes me, 20 minutes there and back or whatever it may be, and it's crazy.
Or what they consider traffic up here. I'm like, you guys don't even know traffic.
No.
You literally could put your car in park for a half hour sometimes on 94. Like, I don't even want to hear it.
No, that's so true. The traffic.
Traffic. I think there was 6 cars at the stop sign. I didn't know what to do.
Right. Same thing.
No, I love the small town up here. Actually, my mom lived up here for a few years, and that was fun and interesting. But I'm a suburbanite now too, so I embrace it. I love it. I love the slower pace.
I like it too.
And the community is different. It's still a community. There was a community in the city, but it's just very, very different.
Yep, I agree.
So something I ask a lot of our guests towards the end of the podcast, obviously you're well networked. Is there anybody you think that would be worthy of coming on the podcast that we should interview?
Oh, there's a ton. I mean, any women-owned business, I would say. We have down the block, Jolene, she is phenomenal. She has transformed her business, pivot multiple times, and we're all fighting to stay alive. I mean, as much as I say we're covering our rent and such, but around the corner you got the Cup of Joe ladies that are they upgraded their space and they're fighting to stay alive. And Mindy Cooling is my insurance agent. She's girl-owned. I try to support all the girl-owned businesses, but they're all interesting. They all have a story. They started to network now and create a little group for us to get together and just talk about your real issues. Like you said, they're posting online, killing the game. It's awesome. And then
but not really.
We meet, we're crying over, accounting issues or tax issues or just things that you're embarrassed to ask about your business or the failures that you're against. And so these women up here have created a nice little network to be able to talk to each other transparently. This whole block has become the antique shop. Now Cindy owns that. You walk down the block, it's women owned and it's awesome. And there's girls supporting girls. I mean, like I said, everybody in this little town is fighting to stay alive. And that goes back to starting a business or growing a business or moving, upgrading a business. It's hard, and, he won't admit it. But when I looked at that garage with the number on it, he said to me, businesses don't make it in Twin Lakes. You're not going to admit it, but you said it. Today he says he met restaurants. I said, no, you said to me, businesses don't make it, and now I see it. I mean, I see it. I work very hard digitally and in the classroom to get these women to stay and tell their friends and such like that. But every business owner I talk to is like, we're trying so hard to stay alive.
Well, it's so seasonal up here too.
Right.
So they also so I've talked to a lot of businesses that are in very seasonal towns, like Lake Geneva, another, maybe not as extreme, but where you also have to plan your business in massive revenue cycles, right? Like you need to make your money from, May to September for pretty much to cover your year, because after September, if you lose half the population up here, or people, because you get 3 feet of snow, no one's going out, right?
Fly girls do, Eric. Fly girls do.
Well,
they shovel their way.
Well, fly girls are the extreme. They're committed.
They're committed. They are committed. They
100%.
will inbox me and say, "It's snowing really hard. Are you still going to show up, Kim?" That kind of thing.
They'll come over on their snowmobiles.
Our winters are awesome, and our summers are awesome. So knock on wood, we don't have a dip like we did in Chicago. I used to tell the instructors, just summer, we'll get through summer. Stay with me. We're going to get the Super Bowl is fall and winter for us. That's what we say. But here, knock on wood. It's awesome. It's
That's
awesome
so
all year
great.
round. I mean, what is awesome? I can't fit a million people in here, but if I can pay my bills, pay my instructors, and have a little extra, that's killing the game for me.
That's a win.
Yeah.
You're keeping the lights on.
Keeping the lights. Sometimes they're off, but we pay that bill and they come back on.
That's that yoga class.
Yeah. That's it. It's the new format. Lights off, no music.
Yeah. Bring your own light class.
That's it. We don't need lights. We'll get it done.
Well, Kim, it has been fantastic talking with you. I told you the hour was going to fly by.
It really did.
It has been a pleasure to sit here in Fly Girl, because I'm going to get the name right this time. Oh, my God, that was embarrassing. I wish I could edit that. But thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your story. It's been incredible.
You're welcome.
And thank you to our listeners. Again, the biggest way to support small business is just social media engagement, and maybe taking a step further, maybe join in on one of Kim's classes here that are 7 days a week, and maybe get into yoga, maybe some Zumba. Yeah, I'm getting that right. But again, thank you all. I'm your host, Eric Bull. This is Small Business, Big Dreams. And until next week, goodbye for now. And that wraps up another episode of Small Business, Big Dreams. Thank you for joining us. Please support us and these incredible small businesses by sharing this podcast with friends, family, and on your social networks. Spreading the word not just helps us grow, but more importantly, supports the dreams of our local entrepreneurs. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform. But if you have a small business we should hear about, reach out to us on social media or our website. We'd love to hear from you. Until next week, I'm your host, Eric Bull. Keep supporting small businesses, and goodbye for now.